Hey guys, Joe here from Xbox Games. Check it out, we got the Adventure Force Water Strike line here. We actually have a couple different water blasters in that line, so it's kind of a 2-in-1 special we're going to do here. Now, you know, if you guys are like us, 2020, I mean, we were on lockdown, or a lot of us were on lockdown, and I couldn't go to the lake, I couldn't go to the river, I couldn't go hike, so I was kind of just stuck in my house. I can't do much. So, you know, shooting other, you know, foam flinging blasters was great from the Adventure Force line. Again, you guys can check out some of them that we've done here. They have come out with some phenomenal stuff, which is awesome. And, you know, we figured, hey, before summertime hits, I want to make sure I could swoop up some of these water blasters before they are completely gone, right? There was some stuff that you just couldn't even get at the store because everybody's staying home, so they swooped it all up and you just couldn't get it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this right now, a couple months before summertime, so I can ensure that I have my arsenal before, right, if we ever, something happens again this summer or whatever. Anyways, we got two different blasters here. We got the Adventure Force Water Strike. This is a kit. This is a Hydro Arsenal, so it comes with two blasters with scopes. Same thing, just different color combos. And then we got what I call, like, the ridiculous one here, the Tsunami Drencher. And this thing, when I show you guys this, it is ridiculous. And these things are still dripping with water because I was out there blasting up my fence, which I'll show you guys here in a little bit. So, you know, with me, one of the biggest things is with water blasters is you usually just can't have one, right? You got to have one for a friend, a brother, a sister, right, parent, because if you're just blasting them, it's no fun, especially if you're like playing in the pool. You got to have another blaster so you guys can kind of just blast around. And that's where I think the Adventure Force Water Strike, the Hydro Arsenal here of these two blasters, comes into play. And so they should be readily available. Now keep in mind that Adventure Force, of course, did send these to us for unbiased opinion, so keep that in mind. And again, these things are great. What I'm going to go ahead and do is actually just focus on one of these. Since both of these are technically the same, I'm just going to go ahead and focus on one so you guys can get the idea here. If we take a look at the actual box itself, you can see on the front of the box, pretty nice. I mean, it has the two blasters, has the two scopes. One of the scopes comes off, well, both scopes come off. The other scope is kind of on the bottom of the box. I think it would stick out the top. But nonetheless, both of the scopes are the little red dots, whatever you want to call them. Both of them come off so you guys can, you know, take them off if you don't want to use them. If we take a look at the back of the box, you get a better idea. Hey, check out this. You get the adjustable nozzle, which I didn't know about until I took a look at the back of the box, which we'll go over. And it kind of just, again, kind of talks about the actual blasters itself. Now, if we take a look at the Tsunami Drencher's box, this is like a no-frills blaster here. This just says, look, I got minimal packaging on here. I'm all about business. And I'll tell you right now, again, the Tsunami is all about business. But you can see the front of the box on it. There's really not a front of the box, right? It's just the item itself. And then, yeah, it is ready to go. I cannot wait to get to this blaster. But if we hop back to against the Hydro Arsenal here, you can see, I mean, taking a quick look at this, the colors are great. Kind of these pastel colors, blue, the oranges, the reds, the lime greens. So no one's going to mistake them for any type of real, quote-unquote, firearm or something along those lines. And it looks really good. They just didn't overdo it, which I appreciate. I love having that internal bladder for the water up there. Super easy to fill. Pretty much you just pop that top off. And if you're in the pool, just dunk it under the water, right? Let it go in. Or if you're underneath a hose or something like that, right, just dump it right in. The inlet right there for the water is huge, so you can just go right in, or the kitchen sink, whatever is easiest for you guys. Now, the grip itself for the grip hand, whether you're right or left-handed, is really nice. It's nice, big, and chunky, exactly what you'd want on a water blaster. And it has kind of these little rivets on here on the handle part on this lime green that kind of give you a little bit of extra grip, which I think is awesome. Now, the front pump up here is pretty nice. I mean, it's a big, grippy front pump, and that's what you need when you pump this, right? You want something big, so when you pull back, you can get the different velocities of water coming out of this particular blaster, and the action is really smooth, pumping it back and forth. You can see a little bit of a little bit of water still coming out of there, but still, it's a very smooth pump action. Now, on the top, you do have that scope, which you can pop right off. And both scopes are the same on these, so right, the yellow one or the one that comes on the blue one, they're the same thing, and they pretty much slide off. Now, this top rail up here, again, is a standard size kind of rail from Adventure Force, so kind of keep that in mind that it will not fit, though, on some of the other Adventure Force stuff. This is a little bit thicker, a little bit different of a design, so I didn't test all the Adventure Force blasters, but I did try some of them that I've had in the past. and unfortunately it didn't fit, and it's of course a little bit too big for Nerf style blasters. So I was like, ooh, I like this. I was like, I want to use this on some of my other foam flinging blasters. Now on the front, if you guys can kind of see this, I'm going to pull it up here. There is a kind of a spread mode, if you want to call it that, and then of course you got the kind of the single shot, just longer mode. And I thought that was cool because depending on where you guys are at, right? If you're in the pool and you just want to lay like a 4-stream burst, just flip it in the front, boom, and lay that 4-stream burst. If you want to flip it over as kind of a single stream and get a little more distance, perfect, flip it over. Super easy action to do. And again, we'll show you guys that here when I'm shooting these things at the fence to see it. So I thought that was awesome, is having that kind of flip there to say, you know what, I'm close quarters, I want to just drench somebody. And I'll tell you right now, this thing dispenses a lot of water, especially on the burst, kind of the 4 streams. It's a lot of water. It's not like your average, this little, you know, this little squirt gun. This thing is dumping some serious water. So, I mean, that is from the Hydro Arsenal line. Again, these both blasters are phenomenal. Now, ooh, I'm just super excited about this one. This is the Tsunami Drencher. Now, this blaster, you know, when I first got it, I was like, okay, wow, it can hold a lot of water. I mean, if you look in there, you can see, I mean, that complete bladder on the inside. It is all the way up here, It holds a lot of water. When I was filling this thing up, I'm like, man, this thing just keeps going and going and going. I'm like, this thing is going to just dump some serious gallons of water. And I thought from the front of it, you pump it from up here, but I wasn't quite sure how. So you remember in the front of these, you pump here in the front, but this one, you actually pump from the back. Look at this. And that, I mean, look how big of a stroke that is. That's like 10-inch, 11-inch stroke right there. So you know you are going to put some serious water downstream when you shoot this thing. And that's why I was so excited about it. So let's take a look at this blaster up close and personal. Again, the purple looks phenomenal. It does kind of look like a tidal wave when you kind of look at it, kind of the swooping front end up there. And again, that inner bladder is huge. It holds a lot of water. Again, I would fill this thing if I was inside a pool or something. I would just dunk it in, let the water go right in, and you're good. Or again, from a hose, something like that, just put it on there and just fill it up. The little cap here fits on securely and nicely. Now, the front of the Tsunami here does not have the kind of the flip to the burst mode and the single shot mode, unlike the Hydro Arsenal does. I wish they would have done that. I thought that would have been cool, but after I shot this at my fence, I saw why you didn't need to switch it. So if we're gonna let's switch this up and show, because I'm like super excited to kind of show this. So you can see here. I'm going to first actually shoot the first shoot the Hydro Arsenal against the fence here. So I'm about, I don't know, 15 feet away, somewhere right in there. This blaster, the Hydro Arsenal, does claim to shoot about 35 feet, which is probably about right. I was hitting this fence absolutely no problem at 15 to 20 feet. Absolutely no problem. And so you can see I'm kind of switching it from the single shot or the single stream to the multi-stream. And I mean, again, at 15 feet, I am completely drenching the fence. And I'm shooting it at different angles and going. And with that huge bladder on the inside, I mean, they did an awesome job. And it's built out of a really nice plastic, so I don't feel like if I ran and dropped this, it's going to break it like some other water blasters out there. So, yeah, I really like that. And again, you can see me switching back and forth. It is an absolute freaking animal when it comes to the flipping those fronts. So let's switch the shooting here, and let's take a look at the Tsunami Drencher. So the thing to note is when you pull this thing back and you shoot it, the whole stroke is not one continuous stream. It kind of does this pulse where it shoots, or it primes itself about the first 2 inches, and then the next few inches of you pushing it actually shoot, and then the last 2 inches kind of seal it up. So you really get a nice kind of semi-stream coming out of it. And you can see this thing just hits the wall, and it is just nuts. Now, this particular blaster does claim to be able to shoot around 50 feet or so. So I moved back a few times in some of these, and I ended up being at about 20, 25 feet, maybe somewhere right in there away from the fence. And this thing was absolutely drenching the fence. Like, if it were me and someone were to come around the corner with this, I already know I'm getting drenched. I'm getting absolutely soaked. And it just amazes me sometimes, you know, it amazes me how much water and how much precision comes out of a quote-unquote squirt gun, right? A squirt blaster. And it just amazes me all the different technology that comes out. But again, you guys can see there, I mean, you know, I keep going back and back and back, and I'm just like, oh man, this is my absolute favorite water blaster currently right now. It is hands down. I know there's some other water blasters and things like that out there, but man, this puts the water downstream and it puts it down far. I mean, super far. Anyways, guys, let's flip back here. You know, overall, I really like kind of the Adventure Force Water Strike line. The stuff that I've had so far, I've had no complaints. I really, again, like the fact that the water bladders are internal and they're this really hard plastic. Like, I could feel like I could throw this on the ground 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and it's not going to do it. Some of the other water blasters that I've seen where, you know, the tank is external and it's really brittle, I feel like if you hit something, you're in trouble. This is like a really nice internal. I mean, you gotta really throw this thing to really break it. And having kind of the dual pack line, I think, is awesome because, again, having one blaster is great, but having two and letting a buddy, again, or a sister or something like that, enjoy it is so much more better. But man, if it were me, I would say pick one of these bad boys up. You know, if you got a pool or something like that at your house, this thing up close is just a drencher. It is a drencher. And this is, I mean, this is right on par, but still I would flip it if you're really close, flip it to the multi-stream, and you're putting down some water, but this puts down some water downstream. Anyways, again, I just wanted to throw that out there and get these out there because, you know, with summertime coming up and we don't really know what's going to happen with summertime, right? I wanted to make sure that if you guys seen these and were kind of curious about them, that you could say, you know what, yeah, let's pick them up now. That way when summer hits, we have something to play with and everything is not sold out like it was before. I do thank the guys over at Adventure Force for sending me these for an unbiased, you know, unbiased review here because, you know, I want you guys to see what these things are all about with an average guy just like me shooting these things, right? I really do appreciate them sending these things out. I would love to know what you guys think down in the comments of these things. If you guys have picked these up, especially the Tsunami. Oh, man, I wish I could just, like, carry this thing around with me all the time. I want to know what you guys think of it. Just leave it down in the comments. Thanks again, Fox fans.